Criminal lawyer breaks down the federal indictment of K-Flock.
Criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching. Oh.
This guy's smart as hell, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He got 800K subscribers. I haven't watched a video in a grip from him. I was just watching like the drill shit or songs I knew. But bro, he probably got hella new cases that he's getting paid for, hella big ass cases just because he did this channel. Probably get to the bag.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and I say that because I swim in the pool of criminal defense. It's what I do. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I go to trial. I am in the middle of a trial right now. Just taking a little break to give you some breaking news about K-Flock. This is brought to you by esign.com.
The fuck? Get to the bag, my boy.
Not be dissatisfied. So today we're reacting to K-Flock. Now remember, about a little over a year ago, K-Flock was in Harlem, and he's accused of shooting somebody. Now remember,
get that bag.
This happened in December of 2021. So he's been in jail for a little over a year in Rikers Island. That's where K-Flock is right now, Kevin Perez. 8 members of the Bronx gang, SLIXZZ side and Third side, are charged with murder, racketeering, and relevant violent offenses. Now, remember what I was telling you about these feds all over the country are going to start using racketeering laws in order.
You know what's crazy, bro? This is only in America. I don't know how they do it in other countries, but I know in like the UK, they don't even got conspiracy charge or like a RICO charge or indictments like that.
To curb gang violence. It's happening in Minneapolis. It's happening in Atlanta. It's happening now in New York. And I guarantee you it's going to be happening in Chicago and Louisiana. Damian Williams, he's the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, is the one who's charging this case out. And they announced the unsealing of the indictment. Now, let's talk about a sealed indictment for a second. A sealed indictment is where the government charges somebody but doesn't make it public. Why would they do that? 2 reasons. One, if they don't have somebody in custody, they don't want to make it public because they don't want the person to flee. That's one reason. But number 2 is if they have 2 reasons. One, if they don't have somebody in custody, they don't want to make it public because they don't want the person to flee. That's one reason. But number 2 is if they have an ongoing investigation and the person's not in custody, they are going to run into a little bit of a problem if people are going to start popping off witnesses once they know that they've been indicted. So they keep it secret until they get the person in custody. The indictment charges, so they keep the Southern
I might be slow. I gotta listen to this shit again.
Is one indictment for a second. And they announced the unsealing of the indictment. Now let's talk about a sealed indictment for a second. A sealed indictment is where the government charges somebody but doesn't make it public. Why would they?
Okay. Thought I heard some shit. Not bad.
A little bit of a problem if people are going to start popping off witnesses once they know that they've been indicted. So they keep it secret until they get the person in custody. The indictment charges Kevin Perez, a.k.a. K-Flock, a.k.a. K, a.k.a. KK, and Devon Mason, a.k.a. BJ, Irvin Beeman, a.k.a. EJ, Nicholas A. Johnson, a.k.a. Nick, Sean Smith, a.k.a. Sticky, and Jossie Castro, a.k.a. Jesse. They're charging them all with conspiracy and other crimes related to the membership of the SLIXZZ side, or DOA, a street gang based in the Bronx. Now let's talk about a conspiracy. What's a conspiracy? It's an agreement between 2 or more people to commit a crime.
Read that so many times.
Of the crime. You don't even need to commit the whole crime. And here's the other thing. Federally, the conspiracy law sucks for the defense because you don't have to even know your co-defendants.
Yo, that shit. Conspiracy is the stupidest charge in the legal system, bro. Like, so fucking stupid, bro.
Conspiracy law sucks for the defense because you don't have to even know your co-defendants. Your co-conspirators. You don't even have to know who they are. The Southern District of New York is a badass office. Damian Williams and their office is filled. It's like a really high-class law firm. And they're the ones investigating Trump. They investigated Michael Cohen, and Michael Cohen's cooperated with them. So it is a very well-known, and here's the other thing.
You shut him, bro.
That is also an office. I think Rudy Giuliani used to be the U.S. attorney in that office, and they were really well known for taking down the mob. And so they're kind of doing the same thing, only on a different level. They're using RICO, which is Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act. And basically, they're establishing that there's an organization. And that's not hard to do. Just some mild affiliation will do. And then any crime committed for the benefit of that organization. And it can be any slight crime. But here we have some pretty major stuff going on. We've got murder, we've got drug dealing, we've got all kinds of other different kind of conspiracy cases related to the membership in the Third Side, a street gang based in the Bronx, and also closely affiliated with SLIXZZ. Perez, K-Flock, was also charged with a gang-related murder of Huascar Hernandez, who was shot to death on December 16, 2021, in the Hamilton Heights section of Upper Manhattan. Perez, Mason, Beeman, Johnson, Rosen, and Gant were further charged with multiple other violent crimes in connection with the SLIXZZ and Third Side street gangs, including attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon, rising from seven fucking shootings committed in the Bronx between June 2020 and February 2022. The SLIXZZ indictment is assigned to the United States District Judge Louis Lyman. The Third Side indictment is assigned to a different judge. Now, side indictment.
This is fucking K-Flock's judge. This is DOA's judge right here. Oh, fuck. They might throw the key away on his ass. The way he looking. Might be over.
Indictment is assigned to a different judge. Now, you know, we talked
knocking
about
on that door
and preventative detention and that kind of stuff. Well, Mr. Perez has been in custody for over a year and hasn't had his trial yet. And now he's facing new offenses that are going to be complex, and it's probably the product of
it's not even a
years
girl,
of
bro.
investigation. Although it can't be that many years because Perez
white
is
man.
only 20 years old. 20 years
19.
old. Can you believe that?
Crazy.
Born in 2003. These guys, when they are young, can't see the consequences of their action. They act first, and then whatever happens later. Whenever you see an older guy that has been through this shit,
Sticky.
they always try to tell the younger guys to just calm the fuck down.
Yo.
And to not do what they're doing. You know what I mean? They see the glitz, they see the glamour, they get the camaraderie and the brotherhood of being in a gang. But everybody seems like they get dragged down. There's so many murders going on. There's so many young black men that are dying as a result of their affiliation with gangs. And I think I've said this about 100 times. Just in Jacksonville, Florida alone, there's over 50 unsolved homicides. I mean, we can't stop this, people. We just have to. You know, and we also get caught up in the social media world, the hyper machoism or the hyper materialism.
I don't remember that.
You know, where's your Pagoi? Where's your Pagoi? You know, let's
What?
just get rooted in what's fucking real, people. Honestly, you know,
We're almost done with the video. I ain't learned shit.
build your life, build your education, build your financial future, build your relationships.
Like, this shit I be saying, bro.
Instead
I can say this.
of trying to go for that short money, and that is short money, because look where Perez is right now. He is in custody. He's been there for a year, so that's a year out of his young life. That is 5% of his life, right? Or roughly thereabouts. And he's looking at the possibility of going to prison for the rest of his life. For what? Certainly can't be said to have been worth it. So Rosen and Gant, a couple of the guys, they are in federal custody in connection with the charges contained in the Third Side superseding indictment. They use some of these terms like superseding indictment.
Yeah, I know what that
You
meant.
have an indictment, and then if other people had to join or they add new charges, they supersede. So the
Damn.
next one is called a superseding indictment. Perez, who is in state custody,
pretty much
because those
what
are
I
state
thought.
charges on that homicide, and I'll tell you about that in a second, has been transferred to federal custody and is being expected to be present later. So if they can tie that homicide in, they can use that homicide as another act in furtherance of criminal activity of the gang. You know, in other words, in furtherance of the RICO charge. What the U.S. attorney said was over a span of several years, the members of these gangs have allegedly terrorized neighborhoods in the Bronx and Manhattan by killing and shooting other people. Through these charges, we will hold SLIXZZ and Third Side members responsible for plaguing our communities with gun violence. So this is an effort by the federal government to step in and clean up neighborhoods and where the locals are not doing their job. So they say. In Minneapolis, the U.S. Attorney's Office is picking up a lot of street crimes. I've had carjacking cases picked up by the feds.
Kia
Which
boys.
they never, in the past, were doing that at all. K-Flock's lawyer is a guy by the name of Jeffrey Lichman. Now, if that name seems familiar, it is because he represented El
El
Chapo.
Chapo.
So he's he's lost some pretty big cases. El Chapo was going down. There was no way he could win that case, I don't think. But is a huge. El Chapo was going down. There was no way he could win that case, I don't think.
Yeah.
But is a huge case, and so ostensibly he's going to have good representation. But there he sits, and I don't know if he knew this indictment was coming down. He had to have some inkling that the feds were breathing down this neck. But the feds try to keep it quiet. So they said for years, Sev Side and Third Side engaged in disputes with rival crews in the Bronx and Manhattan, which resulted in numerous acts of violence, including the following. So Perez murdered Huascar Hernandez. I just told you about that. Perez, Gant, and Rosen shot at rival gang members in June 2020. Johnson shot at
Oh, God, bro. Like, explain something, bro. Explain something I don't know, bro. Like, tell me something. You're a fucking lawyer. Break this down to me. Oh, except breaking down, he's talking about fucking kids not following their OGs and shit. Like, I knew that. I know that. The older people want the best for the younger people. I knew
Gant
that.
shot at a rival gang member in July 2020. Gant shot at a rival gang member, and another one in July.
Preaching shit.
Rosen shot.
Like, I can read this shit.
Rival gang member.
Like, come on, bro.
December 13th, 2020. Perez, Mason, and Beeman shot at rival gang members in November 2021. And Mason shot at rival gang members and hit.
I already had this shit pulled up, but a couple of y'all was saying to watch this shit.
An innocent bystander.
Like, I was supposed to
February 10th, 2022. The other thing that they're doing is there's so much gun violence on the streets right now.
Yeah.
And I've got several cases with switches. Where my clients are getting switches from China, and then they intercept them at the post office. So
look, China got switches.
If you're thinking about getting a switch for your Glock 9 with a 30-round mag, don't do that. There's absolutely no good that can come of it. I'm all for Second Amendment. I'm all for protecting yourself, but do it responsibly and do it with a legal firearm if you're going to do it. So this has just been our and this is I've been reading off of a press release from the Southern District of New York's U.S. Attorney's Office. So I've been reading off of a press release from the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams. And so we'll follow K-Flock. This is a much bigger thing, and it's spreading all over the country. Just like I said about a year ago, that this is going to be happening, and it is happening. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe.
Yo, bro,
follow us on
he didn't even break down the indictments, like the list of like where it's at, like the better ones. Like, this shit was so pointless, bro. Like, no hate. Shout out Brody, he be doing his thing, but I ain't learning shit from this. Like, bro, I can't.